This is a Rally training for RC View production and development. First, you go to https://rally1.rallydev.com, hit enter, take you to a login page. Use your appropriate login, username and password, and click sign in. And I need the right password. So the first and most important thing is you want to click on DAT Dispatch. Get out of the business. With DAT Dispatch, you want to then click on Track, and then click on Iteration Status. This is what we are working on, this iteration 13, from April 27th to May 11th, 2016. You could see other ones here, which you don't need. It talks about all the things that we're working on, and it also shows them in order. What you see here, rank 1 is the most important thing, the thing that the development team is working on first. What's down there at the bottom is rank 25, the lowest priority. These are all things that the development team said, hey, we can make this happen and we can do this. Our job is to test those things. So every day we want to go in and check completed. When something is completed, our job is to test it. If it passes the test and there are no defects, we can move it to accepted, but not before then. DE is a bug. You see the bug there, that's a defect. 175, that's how we will refer to these things. US is a user story, so user story 2636. If you click on each of these, you will see the name of the defect in this case. You will see the description. And you should see a status here. Close, fix, pass, open, submitted. The Esri team will be, that's led by Stacia, can help us out with changing the defect state. If we find a new defect, we'll pass that to Stacia. She will log it. I'll show you how to create a new defect if we find something. But you'll notice that it's release 1, there's an iteration, and priority, attention, severity. The main thing that we want to focus on is the description here tells us what's going on, and the title is how we can refer to it. You also want to check the project, make sure that it does say DAT Dispatch. I'll click Done here. So if we see something that's completed, we would want to accept that. Let's go to a user story. So I'll click this. OATT, that's the training environment. So test was the first thing we were using, then they shifted us over to training. Training is where we're doing all of the testing. And there's also some acceptance criteria down here with this user story. Let me do this. Let's go to a user story that makes a little more sense. The volunteer connection stuff, this is not something right now that we're testing. We may, later this week, need to test it. The focus on volunteer connection really is to make sure that contacts have imported properly, so you can have every tester check themselves, and the IT team will be working with us on that. Removing all shift types, that's a pretty basic user story. Talking Owen, gaining a better understanding of COTS, that's off the shelf. We realize that we don't need shift types, so they haven't started on that. We can see the owner is me. Noggin will move that. They'll change it to the person on their team who should take charge of that. Again, I can click Done. If and we always put our testing notes. For example, if we test this, DE171 takes too long for a saved event or call to appear in events and calls list. If you need to make an update, always put your name, kind of like what we do with the dispatch log. This would be 5/2/2016, Luke, test. Right? It saves automatically, so if you click Done, it will grab that information. I'll get rid of it. Bum, 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 bum. So this really is Rally. If somebody said to look at all the defects, you could go to Quality and click Defects here. This shows all of them. There's a whole bunch of different views where you can sort by priority state and all that. Plan, you can look at all of the user stories and do a same kind of sort. Show me all of the release 1 stuff. And then you would click filter to filter down. But our home for the next 2 weeks really is going to be under iteration status, under track. If you find a new bug, if you do a new defect, you click on defects, so quality defects, action, new defect. So the way that I would log a new defect is I say the system didn't load page X, whatever that was, and I put a description like we've been doing for testing. I clicked on the blue button on the home, on the the event tab on the dispatcher dashboard, whatever that is. If someone from the alpha team submits something, it will stay in submitted. The minute that we, the business, the dispatch leadership team, when we see it, if we say, yep, that's a real defect, we would click open. We then would assign the owner, right now would be to me. We make sure the project is DAT dispatch, it should be automatic. Priority, resolve immediately, high attention, normal or low. Severity, crash, data loss, major problem, minor problem, cosmetic. At this point, because we're at the end of the iteration in release 1, we're focusing on showstoppers, meaning we can't launch the system unless the thing works. We would also want to put release 1 here. We leave that unscheduled. Stacia and the Esri team would take care of that. I'm going to delete all this so we don't create a bug defect. And I'll click this guy. And you would click create up at the top. So that right there, go back to iteration status. We really should be living here. Hopefully we find no new defects. Hopefully we have tested everything. And that should get us to where we need to go. Again, focusing on here, click in. We test the things as we see them get to completed, and then we move forward from there. So that is a high-level overview of Rally, and should get you working. And make sure to work with Stacia and the Esri team in Maryland from the project management team, who can really help us through this.